On the day he proposed, Marcus put a $9.99 online purchased ring on my finger, yet he gave the $10 million heirloom necklace to his adopted sister. I threw the ring away, and he furiously called me a gold digger. You're just after my money, aren't you? How dare you look down on a cheap ring? Only a wealthy socialite like Vanessa isn't greedy. I can trust her with the heirloom necklace. You've truly disappointed me. He took Vanessa's hand and walked away, leaving the entire social circle abuzz with rumors that Marcus had dumped his girlfriend from humble background. 6 years later, we met outside the bistro. Marcus and Vanessa walked hand in hand, the necklace on Vanessa's neck shimmering. When saw me, dressed in my uniform, opening a pipe inspection port, he scoffed with a frown. Grace, you threw away my $9.99 back then. I bet you don't even make $9.99 in a whole week now, do you? Save your dramatic chance encounter act. I'll never fall for you again. I had no time to deal with him. The drinking water was discolored and contained foreign particles. I had been called in overnight by city officials to collect samples for testing. The results were due today. 1. The weather was scorching. The hair on my forehead was completely soaked, plastered to my skin, making me look like a janitor. Meanwhile, Marcus had dyed his hair black and was dressed in a designer suit. Compared to his rebellious punk look from 9 years ago, he seemed much more mature. His dark eyes fixed on me. What, speechless after all these years? Several friends clustered around him. Once they recognized me, they all vied to mock me. Oh, isn't that Grace? Can't even find a decent job. Why did you bother breaking up with Marcus back then? Tisk, TSK. Regretting it now, aren't you? Without, you're nothing. It's for the best they broke up. Marcus is taking over the Hayes family now. Only deserves to be Marcus's wife. Vanessa's face flushed. What nonsense. Are you talking about? She chided. Marcus hasn't even proposed to me yet. The others egged her on. It's bound to happen. Everyone knows you two are a perfect match, coming from similar backgrounds. Marcus frowned slightly, his gaze sliding past my face, a faint smile playing on his lips. Yes, it's bound to happen. Just wait until I'm less busy. Vanessa looked at him, surprised and delighted, but I was a little taken aback. 6 years ago, when I threw away that $9.99 online purchased ring, he immediately put the $10 million heirloom necklace around Vanessa's neck. That necklace was only passed down to the eldest daughter-in-law of the Hayes family. Logically, giving it meant he was proposing. So why hadn't they set a date yet? But it was none of my business. Someone chimed in, exactly. If can forge a connection with Mr. Arthur today, their family's collaboration will be set in stone, and your wedding date will be soon. Mr. Arthur? Arthur? This actually did concern me, since he was my husband. Suddenly, I heard Vanessa shriek. Oh, isn't that Mr. Arthur's cat, Mittens? Grace, you get away. I looked up and saw that Mittens had indeed climbed to the treetop above me, leisurely pacing. I had rescued the little creature with Arthur the day we met. At home, it was spoiled rotten and insisted on coming with me when I left. I got busy with work and didn't notice when it climbed the tree. Marcus frowned deeply, taking 2 steps toward me. He said in a low voice, Grace, are you blind? Mr. Arthur's cat is incredibly precious. Why aren't you keeping an eye on it? I was speechless for a moment. My cat. It was none of his business, was it? His friends were already shouting loudly, someone, quickly, save the cat. The restaurant manager hurried over, first obsequiously greeted the young elite, then looked at me suspiciously. Who are you? I don't know you. You're not even one of our staff members. Mitten seemed to want to stand up for me, meowing a few times from the tree. There were too many people, and I was afraid of scaring it, so I lowered my voice. I apologize, I'm not a stable staff member. The restaurant manager loudly interrupted me. If you're not our staff, sneaking in is trespassing. And you're wearing our uniform, which only adds to your crime. I frowned too. I didn't sneak in. Your boss personally escorted me earlier, and he gave me this uniform. The surroundings fell silent for a moment, then everyone burst into laughter. Marcus's expression shifted. Suppressing his anger, he said, Grace, do you lie without batting an eye now? The boss is busy with today's luncheon, he doesn't even have time to greet me. Why would he pick you up? It was precisely because he was busy that I didn't ask him to stay with me. But the restaurant manager didn't give me a chance to speak. He grabbed my arm. Come on, to the office with me. We have to report this to the police. He pulled me, making me stumble a few steps. Let go of me. I'm working. Mittens, seeing me held, meowed frantically. It lunged forward, nearly falling. Vanessa rushed over and waved at it. Mittens, don't move. We're coming to rescue you right away. The restaurant manager reluctantly climbed the tree, reaching out to Mittens. Good kitty, Mittens, come here. But didn't like strangers approaching. Not only did it not move closer, but it also scampered a few steps higher. I was getting worried. If it went any higher, it really wouldn't be able to get down. Luckily, I had its favorite cat treats with me, so I quickly pulled them out and called to it. Mittens, have some treats, and come down slowly. To my surprise, Marcus slapped the cat treats out of my hand. That's enough, Grace. You just want to get my attention, don't you? Well, you succeeded. This man was truly unreasonable. I had no desire to engage with him. Marcus, the only thing I care about is Mittens. Marcus glared at me darkly. Don't overdo the act. If it gets sick from eating that, dying 100 times wouldn't be enough to compensate. He glanced down and saw a diamond ring on my ring finger, his eyes instantly turning red. To provoke me, did you buy yourself a $9.99 online purchased ring too? You're the cheap one. Your whole family is cheap. I was utterly speechless. Arthur had bought me a lot of jewelry, but my work often involved experiments, making it unsuitable to wear accessories. This ring was delicate, and I had managed to keep it on. My husband gave this to me. No matter the cost, I love it. What? Marcus looked as if he'd been punched, his face turning pale. You're married? No way. You clearly loved me. He abruptly grabbed my hand and yanked, pulling the ring off my finger and throwing it to the ground. I quickly bent to pick it up, but Vanessa stomped her foot on the back of my hand. The sharp setting of the ring immediately pricked my palm, making me wince in pain. Vanessa acted as if she hadn't noticed she'd stepped on me. She moved a step away and leaned into Marcus, gently persuading him. Marcus, don't be angry. Grace is an orphan, so it's understandable if she married for money. Back then, wasn't she just trying to seduce you, to get you to spend money on her? Marcus came back to himself after a long moment, giving a self-deprecating laugh. Right, I knew she was that kind of person all along. What's there to be angry about? I put the ring back on, pressed down on the wound in my palm, and was so angry I laughed. Seduce? Are you crazy? Marcus, you tell me, what did you do back then, and what did I do? If they called me materialistic, I could ignore it. After all, Arthur only wished I'd spend more of his money. The more extravagant I was, the happier he'd be. But if rumors about me seducing Marcus reached Arthur's ears, he wouldn't just be jealous, he'd be absolutely furious, enough to cause a storm. I had to clear this up. Vanessa lifted her chin, chuckling disdainful. Why, Grace, are you going to deny what you did? In senior year of high school, all the girls in class liked Marcus, but only you pretended to be aloof to get his attention. You even deliberately kept getting high scores and using tutoring as an excuse to get close to him, eventually tricking him into falling in love with you. What else would you call that but seduction? I almost choked. So, focusing on my studies was pretending to be aloof, and getting first in my grade was deliberate. Vanessa, get it straight. Getting high scores was my ability, and Ms. Eleanor hired me as Marcus's private tutor. It had nothing to do with getting close to him. And besides, if you hadn't gone to such lengths to drive me out of the Davies family, would I have needed to work as a tutor because I was short on money? Marcus had been lost in thought, silent, but when he heard the Davies family, he suddenly asked, left the Davies family? What's your connection to them? I looked coldly at Vanessa. Miss, are you sure you want me to expose your past? Vanessa's smugness vanished. She said anxiously, and nothing. She once visited my house. Right, I had indeed visited the Davies family once. In my sophomore year of high school, after I won a citywide competition and was featured in the local paper, someone found me. That's when I learned I was the lost biological daughter of the wealthy Davies family in the city. I had grown up in an orphanage, so naturally, I was thrilled to suddenly have a father and mother. But the Davies family had already adopted Vanessa as their daughter, and my parents doted on her. To avoid upsetting her, the news of my return home wasn't publicly announced. I didn't care, but Vanessa cared very much, repeatedly accused me of stealing family valuables to sell. Just then, Vanessa exclaimed, I remember. Grace once stole things from my house. Her being here. She wouldn't be trying to steal Mittens, would she? That diamond ring she's wearing, Lou. KS so familiar. I remember my friend lost a similar one. Could she have stolen it? As soon as she said that, all eyes turned to my finger, filled with ill intent. As if that diamond ring was proof I was a thief. Marcus's face darkened, and he said coldly, Grace, petty theft is one thing, but Mittens is insured and worth $1 million. If you steal it, you'll go to jail. Why aren't you leaving? For old time's sake, I can put in a good word for you and ask them not to press charges. I found it laughable. I didn't steal anything. Mittens is my cat. The surrounding crowd burst into laughter, ridiculing my nonsense. Seeing the crowd's reaction, the restaurant manager simply summoned 2 waiters, who grabbed me, one on each side. Even if you failed to steal the cat, stealing a ring is still theft. Let the police handle it. My experiences at the Davies family home flashed through my mind. My parents' suspicion, disappointment, and anger, like sharp arrows, had left me scarred. No matter how I explained, they only believed Vanessa. I couldn't defend myself. Disheartened and disillusioned, I simply cut ties and moved back to the campus dormitory. How similar was this to the present? Peter, seeing me restrained, nervously pawed the ground and kept nudging me with his head. I struggled to calm it, but the restaurant manager slapped me hard. Quiet down. Don't scare Mr. Arthur's horse. Smack, my face instantly swelled and turned red. I had never liked to use Arthur's influence to oppress others, but at this point, I simply couldn't take it anymore. You'll all regret this when Arthur gets here. Everyone fell silent. Soon, Vanessa laughed again. Grace, are you saying Mr. Arthur is your husband? What a joke. You tried the same trick 9 years ago. It won't work this time. Marcus and I both froze simultaneously, remembering the past. In my senior year of high school, after I left the Davies family and moved back into the campus dormitory, I had no living expenses. Andy was very short on money. Back then, Marcus spent every day on campus either fighting or sleeping, hanging out with a group of followers, claiming he was the biggest shot within 10 miles. Ms. Eleanor was determined to get him back on the right track, so she cut off his allowance and paid me to supervise and tutor him. For the first 2 months, Marcus took all his frustrations out on me. Forget listening to my lectures, he'd roll his eyes just seeing me. When you take someone's money, you naturally find a way to get the job done, so I simply sat next to him and persistently hovered over him. Starting from the 3rd month, he finally agreed to do his homework. He even took a photo of me explaining a problem to him and posted it on social media. Defeated by this woman. Can't I just do it already? It was truly a significant breakthrough. Just as I breathed a sigh of relief, I encountered a group of hoodlum students trying to mug me in a back alley. It was either give them money or get beaten, or possibly both. I bit my lower lip, forced myself to calm down, then steeled myself. I pulled out my phone and opened that picture of Marcus on his social media post. I'm his girlfriend. You'll all regret it when he gets here. They exchanged glances, skeptical. Is that true? We haven't heard Marcus has a girlfriend. But she can make Marcus do his homework. Their relationship must be serious. Forget it. Let's not be penny wise and pound foolish. Let's find out for sure first. The boys decided to leave, and I avoided trouble. When I saw Marcus, I was trying to figure out how to confess what happened and apologize, but he was the one who awkwardly spoke first. Grace, how did you become my girlfriend without my permission? I was stunned. The news had spread so fast. I'm sorry, I was just so scared and lied to them. How about I explain 10 difficult problems as compensation? Marcus got angry. Who wants you to explain problems? Unless you really become my girlfriend. I was dumbfounded. Although our relationship had softened, he couldn't be serious, could he? Of course, I didn't agree. However, Marcus seemed to have broken some kind of seal. He began to openly pursue me, even gritting his teeth and getting into a university in the same city as mine. In our sophomore year, we finally got together. For at this moment, Marcus relaxed, his expression softening. Grace, stop lying. How about this? Apologize to the restaurant, return the ring to Vanessa's friend, and divorce your husband immediately. Then I might consider being friends with you again. Vanessa was even more agitated than I was, stopping him at once. Marcus, she's already tricked you once. You can't believe her again. I stared, wide-eyed in astonishment. Divorce? Marcus, are you insane? Why would I divorce when everything's fine? I'm telling you again, Mittens is my cat. I'm not lying. Let go of me. I'll call him right now, okay? When they heard me say I'd call Arthur, some looked at me as if I were crazy, while a hint of hesitation flickered in others' eyes. Vanessa scoffed. Fine, let's see what other tricks you have up your sleeve. If you can't prove Mr. Arthur is your husband, the police will detain you immediately. The restaurant manager told them to release me. Both my arms were so painful they were almost numb. With difficulty, I pulled out my phone and dialed Arthur's number. Arthur answered instantly, his voice filled with a doting smile. Hey, wife, did you miss me? Hearing his voice, I was so choked up I almost cried. Husband, when will you be here? About 5 minutes. Arthur heard the unusual tone in my voice and quickly asked, what happened? He was supposed to come out with me today, but something came up at work and delayed him. I didn't want him to worry or drive too fast, so I smiled and said nothing was wrong. After hanging up, I looked coldly at the crowd. You don't need to arrest me this time, do you? Vanessa GL answered at my phone and laughed. Grace, that number isn't Mr. Arthur's at all. She opened her contact list, and sure enough, Mr. Arthur's number was different from the one I had saved. The restaurant manager sneered, snatched my phone, and smashed it on the ground. The screen instantly shattered into pieces. Stop playing tricks. The police will be here any minute. I was furious. Mine's Arthur's private number. Yours is his work number, of course they're different. Vanessa's lips curved into a sarcastic smile. Grace, you just save some random number and claim it's Mr. Arthur's. Do you really think we're stupid? The surrounding young elite chimed in agreement. None of us can even get close to Mr. Arthur. What makes you think you'd know him? Mr. Arthur will be here any minute. Don't stay here and disgust him. If he's displeased, no one can bear the consequences. The restaurant manager's forehead was slick with sweat. He apologized profusely and ordered someone to lock me up for now. Just as things were getting completely out of hand, a familiar voice rang out. Grace, what are you doing here? I turned my head and saw it was my dad. No, we had already cut ties. I should call him George. Vanessa happily walked over and affectionately linked arms with him. Dad, don't get angry yet. Even though my sister tried to steal someone's ring again and was planning to steal Mr. Arthur's cat, the police haven't arrived yet, and we're trying to persuade her to surrender herself. George erupted in fury, and the cane in his hand flew directly at my forehead. The sharp decorative tip cut my skin, and blood flowed freely. You scoundrel. Grace, you truly are a leopard that never changes its spots. I clutched the wound on my forehead, unsure whether my head or my heart hurt more. Yesterday seemed to be replaying itself. As soon as Vanessa spoke, my biological father believed her without hesitation. I had cried, argued, and defended myself before, but it was useless. Eventually, I learned to stay silent until I could escape. Blood streamed into my eyes, blurring my vision. I used every ounce of strength to stay calm, but my voice couldn't help but tremble slightly. George, you've assaulted me. I'll have my lawyer sue you for battery. 5. He became even angrier. Fine, go ahead and sue. Sue me right now. I'd like to see how my daughter sends me to jail. Vanessa stomped her foot in exasperation. Dad, what are you talking about? You only have one daughter, me. But everyone heard it. Marcus looked at him, stunned. Uncle, what did you say? Grace is your daughter? I scoffed. No, we've already cut ties. George roared, yes, you'll never step foot in the Davies family home again in your life. The wound on my forehead made my vision periodically darken, and I could barely stand, so I slowly crouched down. Marcus, however, suddenly walked over, gripped my shoulders, and asked anxiously, Grace, if you're uncle's daughter, why would you steal family valuables to sell? I laughed, amused by his stupidity. Who told you I stole things from the Davies family to sell? George considered me a family disgrace and kept the theft incident tightly under wraps, never telling outsiders. Marcus wasn't completely stupid. With my reminder, he remembered. It was Vanessa. 6 years ago, she said you had visited the Davies family and stolen some antiques to sell for money. She even showed me your bank statements, and there were indeed several $100,000 deposits. He turned to Vanessa, scrutinizing her. You misled me. Why? What are you hiding from me? Vanessa shook her head repeatedly, defending herself anxiously. I didn't mislead you. I just forgot to tell you at the time that she's my older sister. She then turned to George, whining, Dad, just forgive my sister. Old habits are hard to break. Please don't let her go to jail. Her words only made it worse. George was so enraged he pointed at my nose and yelled, Someone, take her to the police station. This time, I'm going to teach her a good lesson and make her understand how to behave. The restaurant manager quickly agreed, not daring to delay further. He tied me up with a rope and personally escorted me towards the door. The wail of police sirens grew louder. Marcus quickly followed, about to say something, but Vanessa called out to him. Marcus, Mr. Arthur's assistant said they'll be here any minute. You can't leave. An assistant? Arthur was extremely private. I couldn't believe someone dared to leak his information. Marcus paused. But a flicker of jealousy crossed Vanessa's eyes, but she quickly put on a wronged expression, pouting. I finally managed to get Mr. Arthur's schedule for you. Think about it, which is more important, Grace or your career? Marcus hesitated and stopped. I was pushed by the restaurant manager towards the police car at the entrance. Just then, Mittens suddenly leaped down from the tree and ran towards me. Everyone was startled, shouting "Catch it," as they scrambled to surround it. Mittens landed in their hands, was tightly held, and thrashed its limbs, trying to break free. I cried out urgently, "Let it go. You'll scare it like that." The restaurant manager didn't listen. Instead, he kicked me hard behind the knee, making me fall to my knees. He said viciously, "Don't even think about escaping in the chaos. If anything happens to Mittens, you'll pay with your life." No one noticed the discreet black sedan that had already pulled up by the main entrance. The assistant opened the car door, and a tall, handsome young man stepped out and walked towards us. With a cool, noble air about him, he exuded a breathtaking aura of authority as he scanned the scene. Vanessa was the first to recognize him. She pulled Marcus and excitedly went to greet him. "Mr. Arthur, you're here." The entire place fell silent, then enthusiastic greetings erupted one after another. I managed to look up. Our eyes met, and I "Terfew." LLY called out, "Husband." The man who stepped out of the car was Arthur, the new head of the Southern family. "Wife, what's going on?" His cool demeanor shattered. Shock, tenderness, and fury surged in his eyes. He quickly ran over, kicked away the restaurant manager, pulled me into his arms, and swiftly untied the ropes. He commanded sharply, "Call a doctor." Mittens finally broke free from everyone's hands and obediently darted to my side, rubbing its head against my leg. Vanessa looked as if she'd been struck by lightning, pointing at me. "How is that possible? You're really Mr. Arthur's mysterious wife." I was a water quality expert and not in Arthur's social circle. I usually didn't have time to attend his engagements, which was why I seemed so mysterious. Arthur looked at her coldly. "Grace is indeed my wife, the head of the Southern family's wife. You can offend me, but you absolutely cannot disrespect her. Do you understand?" Everyone fell silent, not daring to breathe. Marcus looked at me, then at Arthur, his face suddenly turning pale. He said in disbelief, "You married Mr. Arthur?" Then he shook his head, putting on his usual contemptuous smile. "Grace, you're not satisfied with just acting yourself? Did you hire actors too? This person, this car, they're not cheap. You really spent a fortune just to deceive me." Vanessa fearfully tugged his sleeve. "Marcus, stop talking. He really is Mr. Arthur." George snapped out of his shock. "Ha ha ha, a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. I never imagined Mr. Arthur would be my esteemed son-in-law. Between family members, there's no need for formalities. We." Arthur raised his eyes, his icy gaze instantly freezing George. "What family members? My wife's last name is Song. The family has no in-laws named Davies. Get out." The words were like a slap across George's old face. He awkwardly shut his mouth, looking at Marcus, his other prospective son-in-law. But's body swayed. He finally understood that Arthur was indeed the head of the Southern family he had intended to court. "Mr. Arthur, I'm sorry, I offended you earlier." Arthur's sharp gaze landed on Marcus, as if it could kill. "So, you're my wife's ex-boyfriend, Marcus? Ha! You didn't offend me, you offended my wife. I'll settle every single score with you for how you hurt her back then." As he said the words ex-boyfriend, Arthur practically gritted his teeth, both jealous of Marcus and heartbroken for my past self. Arthur knew everything I had been through. If he hadn't been abroad, he would have dealt with Marcus long ago. Marcus looked at me in dismay, his eyes full of pain. "Grace, 6 years ago, I didn't want to hurt you, nor did I want to break up with you. I wanted to propose to you. It was Vanessa. She said you stole antiques from the Davies family, and if I gave you my family's heirloom necklace, you'd just sell it. That's why I bought you a $9.99 online purchased ring. But my intentions were 100% sincere, I loved you." Dazed, I leaned against Arthur's chest. I hadn't wanted to respond to anyone, but Marcus's words made me scoff. "Didn't you know what kind of person I was? Ultimately, you never trusted me, which is why you believed Vanessa's nonsense. Marcus, you're not a child. Don't try to shift the blame. Vanessa was bad, framing me and sowing discord, but if Marcus had truly loved me, how could he have so easily believed her lies?" Marcus finally realized what he had missed out on, and he sank to the ground, burying his head in his hands. "I'm sorry, Grace. I've been looking for you for 6 years, just to ask you personally whether you really stole anything from the Davies family." He suddenly looked up, his eyes alight with newfound hope, gazing at me intensely. "Now I know. You definitely didn't steal anything. Grace, get a divorce, and I'll marry you. We'll be together forever. What he got in return was a hard kick to the stomach from Arthur. Arthur had reached his limit. Telling my wife to divorce me right in front of my face? How stupid and despicable. The bodyguard swarmed forward and restrained Marcus. Just then, a doctor arrived and immediately began to disinfect and clean my wounds. Arthur finally exhaled, then pointed at my body, questioning each injury one by one. The wounds on your palm and forehead. The footprints on your back and knees. Who did all of this? In that moment, his expression was grim, like a grim reaper demanding his due. 7. The restaurant manager's legs buckled, and he was the first to fall to his knees, kowtowing repeatedly. I'm so sorry. Mrs. Arthur, I'm so sorry. I was foolish and failed to recognize your importance. I truly offended you. Please, in your greatness, overlook my humble mistakes and forgive me. He kowtowed so hard that blood immediately flowed from his forehead. Just then, the restaurant owner, having received the news, rushed over and slapped him a dozen loud times across the face. You scoundrel! How dare you disrespect Mrs. Arthur? You're fired. Get out, now. Arthur sneered. Huh, just firing him? Is that all? He didn't just disrespect her, he slandered her, assaulted her, and unlawfully detained her, a whole series of crimes. If weren't my wife, she'd be in jail right now, wouldn't she? By the end, he looked as if he could kill. The restaurant owner quickly bowed profusely, offering to compensate me with the manager's current month's salary and his entire year's bonus for my medical expenses. Ultimately, the manager was detained for half a month on charges of slander and assault, awaiting his sentence. The restaurant manager wailed, then suddenly remembered something and pointed at Vanessa. It was Miss who called and said Mrs. Arthur wanted to steal the horse. I panicked and got confused, fearing something would happen. Vanessa feigned composure, then retorted angrily, You're lying. I didn't make any call. Who here saw me? The restaurant manager, having Elria DY caused a huge mess, decided to go all out. It was you. I remember your voice, it was so sweet it sounded dishonest. Do you dare to take out your phone and call again? But opened her purse, it was empty. There was no phone. I forgot my phone at home today. How could I have called you? The restaurant manager was dumbfounded, his expression turning dazed. I held up the test tube in my hand, containing the water sample. Sir, your drinking water tank hasn't been cleaned in a long time. Algae has grown, and after fermentation, the water is yellowish and contains foreign particles. Many guests have gotten diarrhea from it, and now it's turned into a rumor of citywide water pollution. The government is sending people to handle it soon. You can ask your manager how he's been managing things. The owner's eyes blazed at the manager. Not cleaned in a long time? How is that possible? There's a cleaning fee of tens of thousands of dollars every month for the water tank. Where did that money go? The restaurant manager's face went white. He definitely embezzled it. Once this was confirmed, he would inevitably go to jail. The restaurant manager struggled in terror, but it was too late, the police directly escorted him away. The restaurant owner was on the verge of tears, apologizing repeatedly. Arthur said coolly, Your management is poor. I highly doubt your capabilities. Let's just forget about the investment. He had originally planned to collaborate with the owner to create a global restaurant chain, which was why he had agreed to attend the luncheon. He never expected me to suffer such humiliation. Regret hung heavy over everyone present. Arthur took my hand, tenderly blowing on the wound in my palm. And who caused this injury? Vanessa's eyes darted around, and she fearfully hid behind Marcus, but swayed to the side, pushing her forward instead. I saw it. Just now, you were the one who stepped on Grace's hand, causing her to be cut by the ring. Vanessa's eyes widened in disbelief, tears welling up, looking utterly pathetic and pitiful. Marcus, what are you saying? I didn't. Marcus scoffed, then suddenly raised his hand and slapped her hard. Today, I finally realized who the true actress is, Vanessa. He turned and stared at George. Uncle, please discipline your daughter properly. George's old face turned beet red. He waved his hands frantically. No. Grace is my biological daughter. Vanessa is my adopted daughter. What she did has nothing to do with my Davies family. Just as I expected, in the face of profit, so-called family ties were meaningless. George was filled with remorse. It's all my and Grace's mother's fault for being so foolish. We actually believed Vanessa's words back then and drove Grace out of our home. Vanessa, you slandered her first, then stepped on her hand. You're truly detestable. Don't you dare call me Dad ever again. 8. Vanessa turned pale with shock. Dad, what do you mean? You don't want me anymore? George hesitated briefly, then nodded, confirming, you were never my daughter to begin with. Vanessa's body swayed precariously, her expression a mix of tears and laughter. Yes, I knew it. I knew you'd abandon me one day. I tried so hard, but in the end, I couldn't compete with blood ties. Why did you lie to me and tell me you'd always love me? She lunged at me. Grace, die. Only if you die will they love me. Unfortunately, she couldn't get close. The bodyguards easily blocked her. The young elite who had previously fawned over her suddenly started cursing her in unison. Vanessa, so this is the despicable scoundrel you really are. You're clearly an adopted daughter, but you tricked us into believing you were a young heiress. How ridiculous. They don't dare say it, but I will. She's the one who called the restaurant manager. Right, right. I can testify, she secretly threw her phone away just now. Someone ran to the nearby trash can, ignoring the smell, and fished out a phone. He scanned it over Vanessa's face, and the phone screen unlocked. Then he scrolled through the call history, and sure enough, there was a call made to the restaurant manager. Vanessa, you were the first to spot Grace and then called to mislead the restaurant manager. Then you brought us over to create chaos and solidify the theft charges against her. Looking back, you framed her the same way 6 years ago. It was you who made me lose Grace. Marcus finally pieced together the entire sequence of events. His anger erupted, his face contorted in a ferocious expression. He suddenly grabbed Vanessa's hair, and his fists rained down on her chest and abdomen. Vanessa screamed in pain, dropping her act. She simply cursed him back. You deserve it. You believed everything I said, blame yourself for being so stupid. The police quickly came over, restrained Marcus, and escorted Vanessa away as well. Only her broken sobs remained. Marcus, like a trapped beast, gasped for breath. George forced a smile. Grace, dear, look, there are no hard feelings between father and daughter. Let's sit down and have a good talk. Arthur had been watching the scene unfold impassively. Now, he stepped in front of me and nudged the bloody cane on the ground with his foot. The cane, that's yours, isn't it? George's forehead beaded with cold sweat. Why yes, it's mine. Arthur said coldly, you injured my wife. We'll settle both your past grievances and current grudges all at once. Although he hadn't seen George throw the cane at me, Arthur had guessed. Recalling the past, even though 6 years had passed, a pang of bitterness instantly surged within me. Back then, due to my excellent academic performance, I was working on a project with my advisor and had received guaranteed admission to graduate school. One day, the campus administration specifically called me into a meeting, saying someone had reported me for theft and they intended to revoke my graduate school admission. Almost simultaneously, Marcus sent me a $9.99 online purchased ring. Vanessa smugly called me. Sister, Vanessa sneered, your career and love life are truly fragile. I just wiggled my finger, and it was all ruined. I couldn't tolerate this injustice. I went to court to sue Vanessa for defamation and registered an account to refute her rumors online. Unexpectedly, George used his influence not only to prevent the case from being filed but also to have an online mob cyberbully me. Vanessa capitalized on this attention, becoming a victim and tearfully accusing me of delusional aspirations to become a wealthy socialite. That was the darkest time of my life. Not only would people curse at me when I walked on campus, but my dormitory bed was even defiled with something vile. My chance at guaranteed admission to graduate school evaporated. I barely managed to get my university diploma, and because my reputation was in tatters, I couldn't find a job at all. I suffered from depression and attempted suicide multiple times. Fortunately, my mentor believed in me and told me that an overseas company was setting up a project and looking for an assistant, asking if I was willing to go. I had no choice but to accept. One could say it was George's machinations that led me through such a tribulation. Arthur keenly sensed my silence, quickly embraced me, and kissed the top of my head. Wife, don't be sad. I'm here for you. Everyone who hurt you will pay the price. Chapter 99. I wiped my tears on his shirt. I'm not sad. If they hadn't pushed me, I wouldn't have met you. Because that company was Arthur's. I worked my way up from assistant to project manager, becoming an industry expert. My wounds were disinfected and treated, and Arthur wanted to take me to the hospital for a full body checkup. He looked coldly at George and Marcus. Didn't you want to hitch a ride with the Hayes? Don't worry, with me here, you'll never get what you want. Arthur picked me up and turned to leave, leaving the two men stiff behind him. After getting the medical report at the hospital, the Hayes' top-tier legal team immediately swung into action. George and Vanessa were imprisoned for half a year for intentional assault. The group's stock price plummeted immediately. George filed for bankruptcy, and the company was sold to the Hayes for a song. As for Marcus, he had just become CEO of the Hayes, and many people were resentful. Arthur merely said a word, and the Hayes shareholders ousted him from the CEO position. Marcus, in a daze, got into a car accident and lost an arm. I asked Arthur if he had arranged it. Arthur hugged me playfully. "Wife, you're wronging me. I'm a law-abiding citizen, how could I do something like that? Heaven must have intervened to deliver justice. Don't you dare think about him anymore, you can only think about me." When someone usually reserved acts up, it's the hardest to handle, and I quickly forgot my doubts. Half a month later, several media outlets faced scandal after scandal, and the Hayes bought them out at rock-bottom prices, acquiring them completely. Coincidentally, they were all the ones who had defamed me back then. Arthur also told me something else. It turned out that the hoodlums who stopped me in the back alley that day were actually sent by Vanessa. The mugging was just an excuse, what they really intended to do was take nude photos of me and frame me for lewd conduct. Fortunately, I managed to save myself by using the lie that I was Marcus's girlfriend. These hoodlums, of course, were now locked up in jail for self-reflection. Arthur's eyes were red, and he held me tightly, still shaken. "Forget it, I won't be jealous over Marcus anymore. No matter what, he did protect you once." My heart ached, and I didn't know how to express my love for this man enough. It was a while before I spoke. "Thank you." One day, as I was working, a colleague suddenly said someone was looking for me outside. I epped out and saw it was Marcus. He was completely different from before, as if he had aged 10 years, utterly lifeless. His left arm was empty, and his eyes held an unspeakable desolation. "Grace, what I owed you, it's settled." I remained silent. Marcus managed a strained smile and handed me an exquisite box with his right hand. I opened it and saw the heirloom necklace. "It was always yours. Can we still be friends?" I refused, replying with just 2 words, "Dream on." Then I turned away. He chased after me, clutching the box, crying hoarsely, "Grace! I was wrong, I regret it so much. I was so foolish to have lost you." He could no longer hold back, and tears dripped onto the wooden box. I told myself not to soften, but I couldn't help but recall the awkward young man from years ago. That wasn't just his youth, it was mine too. Now things have changed, people are no longer the same. What's the point of dwelling on the past now? My phone rang, and Arthur's voice came through. "Wife, no overtime today. I'm coming to pick you up." "Okay, call me when you arrive." I didn't look back again, because I had already embarked on a different path in life.